Now, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Carcino here, and let's get into it right quick. This is the truth behind the Rick Ross and Teflon Don beef. Now, this isn't nothing that came from the street. Somebody got smacked up with a pistol. None of that type of stuff. This is dirty practices used to try to smother another rapper. Teflon Don's from Memphis, man. He's been trying to come up in the game since the early 90s, like 96. You know, just working at little local acts, trying to build his name up locally. And once the Grizzlies moved to Memphis from Vancouver, he had an opportunity to start working there, you know, trying to get the people hyped up making music. So people, you know, start coming there and doing the intermissions and stuff. You know, it was building a rapport, and he started working with the Grizzlies, and he's a very smart individual. He's not a stupid street dude. But during the same time, the artist you know as Ricky Ross was deciding to go into the rap game. And when he was coming in the rap game, he was working with Swab House. Well, 8-Ball, MJG, and all those guys under his name Teflon Don. He tried to get the name Teflon Don back then, but it was already licensed to this guy. So he couldn't get the name Teflon Don. So he had to call himself Teflon Don. So he was on Eric Sermon CD, and I remember him on the Boys in the Hood Sound Summit album when he went with Trick Daddy guys. But he was a guy with no identity. They were like, yeah, he got some flow, he can rap, but who is he? You know, he was trying to be some mob figure. So after that, you know, success didn't really take off on Teflon Don. And he's like, man, I done played this as long as I could. I need a new image. So when he's with Trick Daddy, and he's over there with them in Miami, he's like, okay, we boys in the hood. He's doing all that. I'm going to change my name to Rick Ross. Because people in Miami know Rick Ross. The real Rick Ross. Freeway Rick Ross. So I changed my rap name to Rick Ross. Still the mafioso style and rapper. Without talking to anybody that's associated. He just said, it worked for 50 Cent. It's going to work for me. So the name Rick Ross takes off. Because that's a nationwide known name. But, see, what 50 did was take a man's name who ain't around no more to complain or say I like it or I don't like it. Ross took the name of a man who was in jail and didn't like it. That was CB4 for real. So he's really pulling an MC Gusto. So Ross get out of jail. He don't like what happened with his name. And for some reason, Rick Ross won that lawsuit with Rick Ross. With the original Freeway Rick Ross. Over his name. So after that was done, he's recorded an album, because it was holding up his album that he recorded, that he titled Teflon Don. So he figured, like, look, I could title my album Teflon Don. He really loved that name. At this time, Teflon Don is got some stature in the game. You know, he's locally with the Grizzlies, but nationwide, people don't know him, and they hire him to do shows. And that's good local money for him. But all the people like Def Jam and Jay-Z and all these people who put money in the Ross and in this project, they didn't know anything about what was going to happen. This guy launched I told you he's smart. He put together a lawsuit that sued Khaled, He had the audio of Khaled on one of his mixtapes saying that you the best to Teflon Don, giving a shout out to him, and then here he is producing records on Teflon Don. So Def Jam, Slip and Slide, or anybody who was affiliated was sued. Now Jay-Z and Def Jam is upset because they finna lose a lawsuit on the title of an album that they just fought a lawsuit off in order to get it released with Rick Ross. They had to fight with that to get it thrown out of court. Now here they are in another lawsuit over this Teflon Don album, which didn't really do what everybody thought it was going to do. It went to number 2, then it just dropped. And when it dropped, it just dropped to the floor. And Def Jam was like, we don't know what to do with this Rick Ross. They've lost so much money. So Diddy had to come in. So everything was handled in arbitration, and it's a closed shut case on what happened, but they had to pay out a lot of money to Teflon Don. In the end, he got some royalties off of the album. He was brought in, and Def Jam wasn't too happy about it. It wasn't a good look for Jay-Z. So Jay-Z fell back, working with Rick Ross for a minute, and Diddy came in and decided that he was going to start helping managing Rick Ross and build Rick Ross' name back up. And they released the EP, and that EP got everything back popping for him to come back out and renew himself to this Ricky Rose character you see now today. So he's gonna take whoever name is hot and roll with it. But that was the story there, which led to it bridged a lot of ways, you know. And I know what people are like, man, just talk about the 50th Rick Ross while you at it. I mean, it's a lot of avenues with that right now, because that's a situation that still ain't resolved. But we might jump into that real soon. But I got a lot of other stuff, man. So I'm going to let y'all just marinate on this for a minute, and I'm out.